So the New York Giants are on fire right now in terms of rumors. We got Jameis Winston announcing that he absolutely wants to sign with the Giants. We got the Cooper Kupp trade rumors, Sheduer Sanders rumors, and so much going on with the draft. But before I get into everything, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so in terms of Jameis Winston, I personally am a Cleveland Browns fan, so I can give you the complete rundown on him. He's a great guy, he's a fan favorite, he definitely tries to lead, sometimes it can be too much, but I think this signing would be a win-win for the owner because he could come in and serve as a vet to a young QB, assuming they get one through the draft or in free agency, and he's also going to sell jerseys. And the dude is built for New York media, and when he gets hot, he can play like a starting QB. He has all the arm talent. I think a guy like Malik Nabers would love him because of the deep ball, but the only problem is every now and then he likes to throw it to the other team. And honestly, you could say often, because last year he would heat up, he would drive the ball down the field and things would be looking good, but then he would make the most stupid throw you've ever seen. Even he acknowledged it in one of his press conferences. He said, "Lord, please deliver me from pick sixes." But yeah, overall, if the Giants want to sign him for a backup role or even a starting role initially, while a backup sits behind him and develops, I think that would be a great move for this team. This is exactly word for word what Winston said to the media during Super Bowl interviews because he is one of the spokespeople for it this year. He said, "Would I really sign with the Giants? Absolutely. I want to keep playing and do what I do best. I have a ton of respect for Coach Dabull, the things he does offensively. I think they have a young roster, but they have a young roster that's ready to win. They're ready to bounce back. I know they're hungry over there." And Jameis also interviewed Saquon Barkley asking which team needed a quarterback, and he with a smirk on his face said the Giants. Barkley really is making sure to rub things in to the Giants organization whenever he can. And while I'm sure most of you fans get it and can't even blame him, it's gotta be disheartening and brutal to watch. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about some of the other QBs on the market right now in free agency, because with the Browns and Titans drafting before the Giants with the first and second picks, you almost have to approach free agency assuming that both Ward and Sanders are off the table. Yes, I know it's a possibility and almost more than likely that one of the two is on the table, but you can't just ignore free agency banking on something that is only a chance. So right now we are looking at Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Jameis, Zach Wilson, and a bunch of other solidified backups, including Marcus Mariota. So really it comes down to the first 4 guys I listed. Sam Darnold is an intriguing option, but I don't think he's a guy that gives you a chance to win a Super Bowl now or in the future, so his price tag is going to have to come way down. Russell Wilson is definitely an interesting one. I think the Steelers are going to try to bring back Justin Fields and roll with him, so Wilson could be available, but I think there are going to be a few teams that try to get him, so there will be some competition. And then Jameis obviously said he wants to sign, so I almost feel like you sort of gotta bring him in as a safety valve for if nothing else gets done. So then you're not in a situation where training camp starts and you don't have any real quarterback under center. Anyways, moving on, now let's get to the real thing that everyone is talking about and has their eyes on. Cooper Kupp recently requested that he wants to be traded away from the Rams immediately. So he will have new threads on next season. He's 31 years old. Injuries have definitely started to get to him, but I still think he has a full season or maybe 2 of good football left in him. So at the right price, I'm sure that he's a guy that a lot of franchises would love to bring onto their football team. He has a cap hit of almost $30 million, and going back to what Jordan Raanan said via ESPN weeks ago, he said, "I expect the Giants to add a significant weapon via free agency or trade." Obviously, the Giants should wait this one out. I don't think anyone is going to trade for Kupp. I think it's more than likely that he will get cut, and from there, I think the Giants should definitely pursue him. Because if you put Kupp next to Nabers, and then you draft somebody in the 2nd or 3rd round, all of a sudden, this is a well-rounded wide receiver room. And if the Giants are able to land one of the top QBs in the draft, you definitely want to provide them with weapons, because the worst thing you can do is throw a young guy out there that has no NFL experience into a fire with nowhere to go. At that point, it would just be best to sit the guy for the year to watch and learn so that they can accumulate another top pick and get another guy next year. If the Rams do decide to cut ties with Cooper Kupp, that would give the Rams just over $12 million in cap savings. But they of course would not be able to get anything in return. But as we've seen over the last few years and the direction the NFL is headed, once you get over age 30, even if you're good, your value is never going to be much more than a few late round picks. And recently there was another huge name that entered the trade market in Myles Garrett, and I think it's likely that he could end up in the NFC East, but I don't think it's likely that it will be with the Big Blue. So this could be some awful news for the Giants, but at the same time there is some good that could come from it as well, because if the Browns have to trade him, which it seems like is going to happen, they may feel the need to not take a QB and draft his replacement in Abdul Carter at the number 2 spot, or they could trade down. And in that case, that opens up the opportunity for the Giants to get either Cam Ward or Sheduer Sanders. And I mean, the perfect case scenario is for the Giants to draft Sanders, go out and get a guy like T. Higgins or Cooper Kupp to pair with Nabers, and then you got Tracy at running back. Maybe you revamp the O-line and D-line in the draft, and then you sign Jameis Winston as well to be the backup and locker room leader, and all of a sudden, this is a squad. This is a team with a high ceiling that could actually build towards something. But obviously, a lot has to unfold over the next few weeks. And at the end of the day, the Giants not landing a QB in the draft could be a blessing in disguise, because the guys projected to go at the top could actually end up setting this team back even further than they already are. And like I said, next year is where the generational talents will be. And as I've talked about in previous videos, I think there are some heavy sleepers that are projected to go in the later rounds that could buy this team a year or so. I think Will Howard has what it takes to be an NFL QB. I think you could draft a guy like Jackson Dart, even though he's not my personal favorite. And I expect Jalen Milroe to fall as well, so he could be available. And I mean, if you skip out on a QB in the first round and instead you draft an offensive lineman, or even better, you draft Travis Hunter, and then you sign Jameis and you get Will Howard, that would be perfect in my eyes. Obviously the Giants would still be a bad team, but that would be the ultimate setup for next year's draft and next season. But that's just my 2 cents on things. I'm not a Giants fan, so let me know what you guys would like to see this team do in the comments below. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.
Few nicks and bruises, but ain't nothing, ain't nothing can get fixed. Not really nothing major, so happy to still be, a little healthy. But, a few nicked up, those guys hitting in that league.
Yeah. Well, and you play with a passion and aggression where you welcome that. Like, you don't shy away from it. It's impressive because a lot of guys, they'll take the step away. You'll take the step in. Right.
I mean, I want to be challenged, getting hit. Once you get that first hit, you're ready, that adrenaline rushing. But I'm always trying to not get hit, but, if I get hit, I get hit.
What was the like? Give us the first year overview, living in New York, and then what happened on the field, and maybe what was easier or harder than you expected. What was it all like?
Living in New York, it's amazing. No fans go crazy over the Giants, so living in New York is crazy. Right. You always see a lot of people. When you're in the city, the food is really nice. Yeah. So you got a lot of food options. But playing on the field, playing on the football field, it was great. I had to. Like you said, some things look like it was easy. It wasn't really easy. I just had a great team around me. I had, Dabull pushing me every week to be successful. He been doing a great job of giving me the football in space. So he let my talent show when I was out there on the field. Yeah.